morning, YouTube. The Drive has just announced its Car of the Year, and I am very, very disappointed.
Really? You're disappointed?
Extremely, because the Drive is the place for car enthusiasts, a website, a YouTube channel, a big source for us car guys to go and get, well, car knowledge and camaraderie and all that stuff. Even themselves, they call themselves, the Drive celebrates the culture of cars, taking our audience on the road to the races, to the factories, to the studios, and other places car lovers like to be.
So what are you disappointed with?
Their choice in the Car of the Year for 2024.
Uh-oh.
You ready for this?
Is it bad?
It is the Toyota Prius.
What's wrong with that?
The Toyota Prius for a car enthusiast website.
Right.
For their Car of the Year. Of all the choices for new cars in 2024, they're choosing the new Toyota Prius.
There better be some huge advancement from last year to this year for that to be the Car of the Year.
The biggest advancement is they made it not ugly.
Okay.
If you look at it, I mean, take a look.
I don't agree with you fully.
It looks
kind
a
of
lot
like Tesla.
better. The old version looked like some weird, overstyled, crazy thing.
Yeah.
It was kind of stupid.
Right.
And not a big leap forth in technology.
Right.
So it's also Motor Trend's Car of the Year. They announced that a few weeks ago. And 20 years ago, in 2004, it was also Motor Trend's Car of the Year, which the Toyota Prius was a pretty big game changer back then. But that Motor Trend, it's a big consumer magazine for normal cars. The Drive is for enthusiasts, and I don't get it.
I think it's a really cool design. I like what they did with the headlights. And it's kind of like that swoop back feel.
Yeah, it has that swoopy Prius shape without it being weird. They've somehow figured that out, and also finally gave the Prius some horsepower. So some credit there. Combined horsepower finally knocking on the door of 200 horsepower.
So is this a hybrid
200.
engine?
Yeah, it's always been a hybrid with the Prius. So the first generation looked like a Toyota Echo. Hybrid, not that exciting. The second generation was the one that everybody loved. All the Hollywood people trading in their luxury cars and buying a Prius to be cool, so much that South Park, spoofed it by talking about these guys loving the smell of their own farts so much along with their Priuses and driving around and farting and sniffing it to, so it got spoofed. The third generation was better, more of the same, more good stuff, a little more technology, and a little bit faster, which was a big thing. I've owned the second and third generation Toyota Prius personally as daily drivers, and they are fantastic. I've also ran over a couple Priuses with my old Hummer. So
What?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Wait, what happened?
There were two destined for the junkyard.
Okay.
And Euro-Asian Bob, sorry, I need to fix that. Had these lined up for me, and I had a beautiful big yellow Hummer H1, and I drove over them. I actually got stuck on it. And then we put one on the roof rack, which holds it, drove it to the scrapyard, and scrapped it.
So you put the Prius on top of the Hummer?
Yes.
On the roof rack?
Instead of using a trailer, we just put it on top of the car and did that. Drove it to get scrapped.
And it still didn't help with the gas mileage of the H1.
Maybe it made it a little more aerodynamic, actually.
Okay.
But the thing about those Priuses, 10 years, the battery fails.
Okay.
10 years old seems to be the rule of thumb for the Priuses. And the replacement for the battery is $4 or $5 grand, or you can get rebalanced packs and put it back together. Another YouTube video I did was saving a second generation Toyota Prius that had met this fate. But most people don't know this and want to do it themselves. So it's like $5 grand plus for a battery replacement. And at that point, it's 10 years old and people just get rid of the cars.
Not worth it.
So we're seeing a lot of that with that generation of Prius. But with this, a lot of advancements. Like I said, more power to where you can actually pass on the highway with the Prius. MPG's now up to 57 estimate. And with the Prius Prime, the plug-in hybrid, there's 30 miles of electric range before you need the motor to kick in if you want to run all electric, which back then, that's like the Nissan Leaf, an entire car people were buying. Its range was 50 miles. I don't know, probably more than that, but it felt like very low. This has that just in the go to be an electric car.
But do you think that's accurate? Sometimes, I'll be driving a car and it estimates its gas in the car, like on the speedometer. There's like a menu option. But it doesn't quite get to that high range of actually being 57 miles a gallon.
The computers are getting a little better, a little bit smarter in the instance of these hybrids and electric cars where they kind of change based on your driving habits or what you're doing. For instance, that Ford Lightning pickup truck, the electric pickup truck, the range went from 200 and something to 100. It realized when I was towing a trailer, a very light aluminum trailer with a very light load, like a Model A that's maybe 2,000 pounds. And it went, uh-oh, and my range got cut in half according to the computer. So that was pretty accurate. They're
Yeah.
getting better, but back in the day, the older ones, it was
Yeah.
definitely tough with the older
You,
cars.
you
But
kind of fudge the numbers a little bit.
yeah, I'm just disappointed with the drive because they're doing exactly what Motor Trend said a couple of weeks ago, picking the Prius. All-wheel drive's a new option for them as well, so that puts it in a lot of competition with, Subaru, with a lot of other people that want
Yeah.
year-round driving of a Prius, and they are pretty awful in the snow, as I've encountered. At least with the older ones, you can't turn off the traction control, and it just gets stuck.
Right.
So a nice thing to have there. Good-looking car,
What is
but I'm
the-
disappointed.
What is the base price on it? So that's where you can really maybe get to car of the year because it's affordable. If it's something that everyone
I don't think it's
can
that
kind
cheap.
of afford, then yeah, it should be car of the year.
Wow, I'm wrong actually. The base price $27,650.
That's great. That's shocking with all the inflation going on and how much it takes to build cars.
Yeah, that is pretty amazing.
So
They've
maybe
been
that-
doing it well for so long.
Yeah.
The Prius, it's the original gangster when it comes to this movement, I suppose.
Yeah.
But they do have a bad rep when it comes to people driving them because of the driving habits of the Prius to get the most MPG. It's very annoying. So there's whole Facebook groups dedicated to like left lane Prius where they're just taking pictures of Priuses cruising in the left lane, just oblivious to the world. Or the pulse and glide technique, to get the most power and efficiency out of it
Oh,
with the
yeah.
regen braking very early for lights. And it's a different driving style to get the most MPG, and it annoys a lot of people.
Right.
And there are plenty of idiots that drive them as well. So I get why people hate them so much.
Yeah.
But I think it's a really bad choice for an enthusiast car website to choose
Yeah.
a Prius for their car of the year.
What do you think they should have chosen?
The answer is really obvious.
Is
The Corvette
it?
E-Ray.
You love the E-Ray?
Well, I'm not
I
saying I
mean-
love. I would rather have a Z06. I owned a Z06.
Yeah.
But as far as a technological breakthrough for
Right.
an enthusiast car, you have the first hypercar basically for under $100,000
Right.
at the base price.
Right.
You have the wide body of the Z06. You have all the looks of the Z06. You have all-wheel drive, a first for a Corvette. You have a little bit of electric range. It's a joke. It's not really for
Tiny.
efficiency. It's for performance. So you got almost 500 horsepower from the V8. Another, I think, 130, horsepower, helping with the
Yeah.
front to make it all-wheel drive.
Yeah.
The 0 to 60 around 2 seconds.
Yeah.
It's a game changer. It's amazing. It's a huge breakthrough in technology and price point and just a really cool car. It's the perfect car of the year for the drive,
Right.
for something else. I even think Neelix agrees with me because he just clawed my side there.
Yeah, she wants to say that too.
But you don't think so?
No, the E-Ray. I was just surprised that you said it because I didn't think that you really liked the E-Ray. But as far as being car of the year, that makes sense, and especially Corvette's history with being American and an American sports car that we live by.
Sorry.
You are covered in cat hair.
Okay, that was a mistake.
That's what happens when you wear black. Black shows everything.
Yeah.
But just the heritage of the Corvette and it
Heritage.
going. What did I say?
Hair? No, it's like I have hair all over my tidge. Yeah. Jesus, Kat.
The heritage of the Corvette and it finally becoming semi-electric, which when they promoted it, it sounded like it was fully electric. Like they kind of rode that fully electric wave and it's a hybrid. It goes fully electric for like 3 or 4 miles.
Yeah.
that's
Well, the Z06 is much more old school, even though it is a mid-engine Corvette. Doing the flat plane crank thing was pretty cool, making it as exotic as possible,
Yeah.
but still an old school exotic. The E-Ray is just a technological marvel
Right.
for the price. It makes no sense to buy a Ferrari or a new Lamborghini Revuelto for 1,001 horsepower and spending $500,000 or something like
Right.
that. The E-Ray.
Well-
It is the enthusiast car of the year.
Right.
And I think the car of the year in general, I think Motor Trend made a mistake. I think a lot of other websites are just going crazy about the Prius, even though we discovered how cheap it is and how good it is.
Right. But there should
a
be
Prius.
some technological marvel with the car of the year. When wasn't your Cadillac, your 52 Cadillac car of the year?
The 1949
49.
was the very first Motor Trend car of the year. And yeah, the styling was from Harley Earl. They had the twin tail like the P38 Lightning. The birth of the fins there in 48 continued to 49. But 49 had the overhead valve engine.
Yeah.
So it wasn't a flathead anymore. So big power, a big change that was a huge technological advancement along with the styling. So when Motor Trend had their first car of the year in 49, that was the obvious choice.
Right, of course.
Yeah.
That started the baby fin to the big fin craze.
What would be your car of the year?
Oh, I mean, like, I feel like it's obvious. That's obvious.
The E-Ray?
No, the Challenger Demon 170. I mean, come on, that baby is beautiful. A production
This
car
is- wait, this
with
is-
over 1,000 horsepower.
It's 2024 car of the year, and you're picking a car that is out of production in 2023. It's over, April. The party's over
This
with
is
the
the
Hemis.
last of the last call.
The party's over in
It's so
2024, so it
beautiful,
can't.
though.
It can't be the 24 car of the year.
Look it up. It's so gorgeous.
It is really cool. Over 1,000 horsepower. The 0 to 60 at
just
2 seconds.
streamlined and
Can
cool.
do
There's-
wheelies with slicks
There's
on
no
it.
wide body kit, so it
Yeah.
has the more that classic look. Look at that beautiful one with the power bulge. Does anyone ever say that out loud? It's really cool, the air grabber hood. I just love that classic style. But okay, 2023. So what? 2024. The ZL1, right? The Camaro?
The Camaro ZL1 is in production for 2024,
Mwah.
but it's one more year.
Beautiful.
You can't, like, that car has been in production since 2016.
It's beautiful.
It's 8 years old. It is a dinosaur, and it is leaving in 2024. The
Yeah.
Camaro is gone. The Challenger, as we know it, is gone. But yeah, I guess if you're picking a car for 2024, they're still making that as like a final edition.
I want you to see this was the
collector's edition.
The collector's
there it is. Yep.
edition. It is so pretty.
650 horsepower, but it's a package that's, in addition to the 15 grand trim, you have to put another 5 or 6 grand
so
in.
Pretty. So they're only making 350 of them.
Yeah.
It's Panther black paint, which I guess the code word when they were first building Camaros back in 1967 was the Panther Project. So this is kind of a callback to that. And what's going to come after the Camaro? Because I feel like they're killing all these, muscle cars, these retro muscle cars. Are they just going to come out and say now they're all fully electric, so they really didn't go away?
Because people aren't buying cars much anymore.
Yeah.
And there's a few exceptions. The Camaro has always been a struggle to sell behind the Mustang and the Challenger, obviously.
Which one would you have? Mustang, Challenger,
The Mustang
Camaro?
has been redesigned very nicely. The new Dark Horse is very cool.
Yeah.
I wouldn't mind owning one of those. At least the Coyote continues on in that car in a new chassis. It'll be pretty. The Shelbys are gone for now, so no more GT 500, which is something I had. A car I bought new. Yeah, so the Mustang still lives on of, the muscle cars, the pony cars, but it's it for now.
I feel like they're pretending to go away. Like
Yeah.
it's those classic rock shows. They're like, oh, this is the last concert for Kiss ever. And then they're still out another 10 years later touring. Like they're just going to come
Right.
back being fully electric.
But look at this picture here. I'm going back to Motor Trend here for their
Yes.
contenders for the 2024 car of
Okay.
the year. And you see the cool cars up front. There's the Mustangs, the Dark
Yeah.
Horse, the BMW M2. But then they put it in the background for a good reason. Can you differentiate any of those cars from that picture?
No.
They are all jelly bean blobs, and there is no differentiating them. You can tell that's a Porsche 911. You can tell that's a Mustang.
Is that
you
a
cannot
Lucid?
tell. Yeah, the Lucids there. There's probably BMWs because
Yes.
of the big kidneys.
They have 3 BMWs, it looks like.
Yeah, well, no,
Maybe 4.
it could be a Kia. You don't know because Kia's grills are starting to look like. You don't know. They're all just sort of. Even
Yeah.
the cars now are all looking the same. It
They
used to be
do.
just the crossover SUVs all having the same shape.
Right.
But now the cars are, especially if they're electric.
Right.
The only exception, I think, if I'm doing an electric car, is Hyundai, where they're doing some weird styling stuff that looks pretty cool with their. I'm struggling for the name, but Ioniq.
Yes.
And I'm making. That's a car, not a toothbrush, right?
Probably both.
But they're taking styling risks
Right.
there at
right.
least. But
well, and if
yeah,
you're
that's-
Hummer, then you just design a brick and make it electric, and it still goes really fast.
Yeah, the trucks obviously. The Cybertruck would be the car of the year if it were a car, but it's not. It's
Yeah.
a truck. So they do the trucks of the year. It's a totally different contender.
Did you see
and
the black
category.
one? The black Cybertruck?
Oh, where they wrapped it? Yes.
So pretty. Oh, that's just a wrap? Okay. So that's not going to be a standard feature rolling off the production line?
Yeah.
Oh, it's beautiful.
So what is your favorite car of all
Of
time
all
then?
what?
Instead of the car of the
So
year, it's the
easy.
car of the century.
Really?
The
You're
car
just-
of the millennium.
You're going to pretend like you don't know. You just have no idea. My favorite car ever in the universe.
It's still going to be the GNX?
Well, I was going to say the Grand National, but yeah, the GNX. Are you nuts? Of course. There's a beautiful dream car. They only made 547 of them, and I'm going to get my hands on one maybe in the next 100 years. We'll see what happens. I'll have to steal it because they're worth what, $200,000-$300,000?
Oh, they can be, but yeah, the quality wasn't all that good. They're pretty darn good. They're good for the era.
Don't you talk shit
But
about my baby, GNX.
As far as the entire history of the car,
Yes.
an 80s GM product is not going to be on that
What's
list.
yours? Oh, the SL300.
There it is.
Goldwing.
Right here.
Yeah, of course. That's stunning. Absolutely. I mean, would a GNX beat it? Probably.
No. A GNX would not beat this around the track because in the 1950s they had fuel injection, 240 horsepower out of an inline six. Tubular chassis. That's why they did the gull-wing doors,
Right.
because of the race chassis. It was a race car
Beautiful.
that was eventually sold to the street, and also
This
just
is
absolutely
like
gorgeous.
unobtainium right here. I was talking about cars that you could possibly obtain. That's like $2 million, right?
$200,000 for a GNX is still a lot of money, Miss Richie Rich.
One day I'll have a GNX.
All right. Well, thank you so much for watching. Hopefully you agree with me that the Prius, for a car enthusiast website, not a very good choice. Coming from a guy that owns Priuses, I'm just saying.